Well, hi, good morning. It's October 30th, and this beast is back on my bench again. So, if you're a new viewer and you haven't watched the previous videos on this radio, I'm just going to give a quick overview. So I've done the usual stuff here with the receiver, changed the capacitors, done the alignment, struggled with the FM alignment, tried out some equipment I'd never used before, this guy here and whatnot. It had quite a wild ride getting to the point I'm at now. Right off the bat, when this receiver was in my shop, I noticed the FM tuning was a little sloppy. It had a lot of play in it. And eventually I reverted to tuning the radio just by turning the big wheel here. It had gotten so bad. Eventually, the tuning knob essentially disengaged from the tuning. So you can see that the wheels don't turn. So, having solved the other essential problems with the receiver, here I am with a radio that cannot be tuned for some silly mechanical reason that I have been unable to get to the bottom of and unable to come up with an effective solution correcting whatever the problem is with it. And I have spent quite a bit of time, and if you've been watching all these videos, you know that really, wow. So I'm in here today. I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes. I'm going to go and take some deep breathing exercises and drink a lot of coffee before really going at this. You know, you kind of need you need an angle. You need something to do. Boy, what is my angle? My angle is this. These are programmable buttons here. They're very much like the old car radios. If you're my age, you'll remember these, where you pull the button out, and when you push it all the way back in, like magic, that button will remember where the pointer was when you pulled it out. It's quite an interesting arrangement how this works, but it doesn't work on this radio. You cannot pull these buttons out. In fact, one of them, yeah, you can pull it out all right, but it comes right off. The owner of this guy told me at the start he wasn't too concerned about the buttons. I think he was aware that they didn't seem to function properly, and so I shared his lack of concern over them, and I just kind of ignored that part. I gave a couple attempts at pulling these out, but they weren't coming, so I didn't want to push that too far. Today I'm coming in here on the basis that that is part of the problem with this radio, that whatever is keeping these buttons from being pulled out and adjusted is the same thing that's caused this to happen. Now, my theory has a huge gap in it. I couldn't really tell you how that could be. I don't really see it at all. But that's the angle I'm going to start. I'm going to start to try to find out, why can't you pull these buttons out? Is it just I didn't eat enough Wheaties and I haven't got the strength to pull it out? Or is there something jammed up in there somehow that plays a role with this problem? You know, I'm giving this a lot of hope. Beyond that magic happening, I'm into bending a few parts, and worse yet, gluing things together. There's a set screw in there. I was too afraid to actually give a crank and break free. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. That could lead to readjustment of a couple of parts that may solve this problem. So today I hope, though, to finish this guy off, and one way or another the radio can be tuned again from the front. Isn't that something? All that work, and it's all for naught if you can't tune the radio. The pointer's right here, by the way. There he goes. Hey, I just tuned the radio. There you are. Quickly, where's that coffee? In a world that's full of so much stuff that's turned upside down, why don't we turn this upside down? Gain a new perspective on things. Look at this in a whole new light. Maybe something will fall out of it here. Let's take a look at what we can see. Okay, so we get a good look at the mechanism behind this. We just have to get some cameras in place here. Okay, let's take a look here. A bit of a long shot to start with so we can see the whole mechanism. Let's bend this wire out of the way. Wire's running to the headphone jack. Well, there it is. There it is. Let's push a button and just watch a few things here. So each one of these has its own spring, pushing it back. They all feel the same and do the same. If we look more closely, let's just stick on the center one here. It's a rather complicated looking little mechanism here. Get a pointer. I have looked at a car radio mechanism once a long time ago. There's kind of two styles to these, and you think about it, these have to successfully push the pointer from wherever its starting point is to where they want it to go, and the starting point could be to the left or to the right. Either way, this mechanism, when you simply push a plunger, has to somehow drive that pointer in the right direction to its final spot. So I'm pointing right at a black piece in here. We look way over here at the side. I'll put the camera closer once we're finished looking at. So what I'm looking for are sliding pieces and locking pieces, and nothing's obvious to look at. But I bet you this part here slides. Let me plunge this all the way in. Try another one. I'm not expecting anything to slide on the piece that I'm pushing in. That's tuned to about the same spot. This one's going to move it a long ways, I think. So you see some surfaces that look like they need greasing. I thought I sprayed some stuff in here. Maybe I didn't. This surface down here certainly needs greasing. I push the other extreme one here. How's it doing that? I mean, there's nothing in the camera view that's explaining what... You can't even see how these push button plunger parts connect to the part down below that's doing the moving. It must be out. It must be under this panel, maybe. So I can see some gears over here, gear in here, and a large, I think it's a plate with teeth on it. That would be down, whoops, I'm using a pointer that's got a hook on it. That's dumb. Let me get a nicer pointer, something much nicer to point with. Oh, this is nice. Nice red plastic thing. So down here, there looks like there's a wheel with teeth on it. It goes into a gear. The spinning shaft, the tuning shaft, is actually this shaft here, slightly goldy colored shaft. So what's happening here is this, I believe, this bar and plate mechanism is being pushed somehow. We don't see how yet. And then the teeth, you can see some of the teeth right here, are geared up against the teeth on the rotating shaft, and that goes straight out continuously to the side of the radio where the big wheels with string on it are, and turns them. Okay, so I'm going to try pulling on one of these now. I don't want to pull the knob off, but so I'm starting with the one over on this side, pulling it back. Okay, so you can see a piece slide there a little bit. Oh, I got it out. It must have been the coffee. Now things are all wiggly in there. How could this have any influence on the tuning knob itself? So right now the radio's tuned where. It's tuned to an extreme. Gee, I'd rather have it tuned. Okay, so I can tune it like this. So you pull it out, you tune the radio where you want it using the front knob, but I'm using the side wheel. Wow, it feels very, very free, in fact. Like I'm not carrying a lot of mechanism. You can see all the parts that need to be lubricated down there. Okay, so we'll put it, let's say, here. Is there a mark or something? I'll put it right here. Now we're going to plunge this in. Okay, I'm pushing it. Oh, look at that. Okay, now I'm going to release it. Oh, it stays plunged in. Okay, so now I think what I'm seeing is this black piece is a spring. This piece right here. This piece is a spring, and it's pushing down on this piece, which is being pushed out by this funny half moon piece, if I can call it that. That piece right there. You can see, so, oh, where's the half moons on the yellow ones? They're out of view. There they are. So I'd say what's happening here is that when you pull it out, you're releasing this bar to become loose. And when you put it in, the last part, you shove this back under here against the metal bar and the spring pushing back on you. And you lock it. What are you locking? You're locking something up in here. It looks like you're locking this wheel. This wheel is in a different position on each one of these? Yeah. So that wheel is the critical tuning part. And it's just shaped so that... Now let's try it again. Let's try it again. I'm going to pull it out. Okay. I wonder why I couldn't pull them out before. Because it wasn't that tough. Pull it out. Let's tune and watch what happens to the black part. Nothing's happening to the black part. This time I'll set it way over here. Kind of the other side of the dial. Oh, there's something worth seeing out here. Oh, some of this is visible out front here. Comes right out front. Okay. I don't know where this is going to lead. Just hoping some kind of, even when you don't know what to do, while you're poking around, looking at other things for other reasons, you may see something, encounter something, realize something that you're not going to get to any other way. Even though you have no expectation. Oh my God, I was watching videos yesterday by a psychologist named Dunning. He's a professor in an American university. You've probably heard the name. Dunning-Kruger. You ever hear of the Dunning-Kruger effect? Well, this is Dunning. Dunning-Kruger effect. He's talking about people and their knowledge, or more importantly, their lack of knowledge. And he said a lot of things. He said one thing that really caught my attention. He said, when you get older, maybe when you get around 60, that's kind of where I am. I'm a little past that now. You really do know a lot of stuff. You know a lot of stuff about a lot of things. Do you really know a lot of stuff? I said, just consider for a moment how much stuff there is to know in the universe. It's quite likely there's an infinite amount of stuff to know in the universe. And regardless of how much you know, maybe you know that much, maybe you know that much. But when you compare it to infinite, that's what you know. You don't know anything. Thank you, Mr. Dunning. He also said that the challenge all humans have is you can't know what you don't know. So I think doing this kind of work and many other puzzly things would be similar. kind of forces you to come to grips with these sharp edges of being a human. Sharp edges that cut yourself. For instance, I think often I've mentioned the reason you go forward in something like this, like what I'm doing now, is simply because you don't realize how impossible it is to sort out. you don't realize what a long shot it really is. But that's what keeps you going forward as a human being. And in other words, it's good to not know something. That doesn't make sense, does it? Very interesting videos. It's just him giving lectures in front of groups of people like business administrators or other educators, and just filling them in on some facts about human behavior and all around this idea of knowledge and lack of it and the like. Dunning-Kruger effect. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's an example of it. Kind of funny, eh? So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the solution to just leap into my head from somewhere, anywhere. Let me pull another one out. Okay, we'll pull the next one out. Oh, son of a gun! Just what I was afraid of. I just yanked the knob right off. It's exactly what I was worried about. Oh, phooey, phooey, phooey. I don't know what to do. This one comes off, this one comes off. This is the one I'm able to pull on. Maybe a little bit of lubrication in there, but I'm a little worried. You might want to lubricate some of this stuff. It may be meant to be dry so it gets a grip of some sort. So, okay, so let's get to the problem here. How could this influence the mechanism, which is a little hard to see now? It's over in here. Well, the first thing to think about, I think, is this bar right, I can't get my pointer on it, right here, this thing, right, and I'm pointing at. That thing there, just clear away a few wires. So that bar, so the problem here with pushing these buttons, and not just memorizing them, but using them. So you're going to push and you're going to do this. During that operation, the front knob would spin like a crazy guy, like crazy. So they have a mechanism designed to stop that from happening. And it's part of that yellow gear, and it's part of that little part I just pointed at. So again, let's push a button here and watch what happens. So see how that the yellow gear is being pulled to the left, to the right. And that's supposed to separate a clutch mechanism, which is very confusing to look at. Just what exactly is the clutch mechanism in this radio? But I don't see that metal bar is moving very far. It doesn't seem to be doing much of anything. Shouldn't it move a little further? That's it? That's the whole thing? The other issue is you can't see it in this camera shot, but the bar is shaped in an L shape with the very lower end of the L sticking into a slot in the yellow gear. The slot that I call that the finger. This part here, whoops, hard to point out with the camera where it is. This part here is shaped like an L, pointing straight down, going into a groove you really can't see in this camera shot. And that is part of this. I mean, so like the first thing that happens, you push this in before tuning the radio. It's pulling the yellow gear. Also, through this hole here, you can see a spring. Now, that spring is either pulling or pushing, I believe, on the sliding bar. Two more effects from the psychologist, which is important in this kind of work. Jumping to conclusions. Us humans, we love to get on with things, and we'll quickly take 3 pieces of the puzzle, of the 100-piece puzzle, and reach conclusions. And the reason is we don't know that there's another 97 pieces to the puzzle. We don't know that yet. So we got the 3, and we start reaching conclusions. I do this all the time when I'm doing this work. I'm guessing everybody does. If you're just kind of freehanding it, that's how I do it. I don't follow any strict procedural step-by-step process. Not really. I mean, there's a rough one I have. It's kind of a global approach to things, but it's hardly precise. To be more specific, then, when you're going to work on a radio, you could say, well, here's 9 things I'm going to do to this radio before I do anything else. I'm going to clean the controls. I don't even know if they need it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to clean the controls. I'm going to pull the tubes out, test them all. I'm going to clean everything. I'm going to change all the capacitors. I'm going to do all this stuff, and then I'm going to turn it on. And maybe not change the capacitors, but gather information is what I really want to say. Gather up information before thinking. And I'm going to go through a rigid process, and when I'm done, I will have more pieces of the puzzle. That's true. And but I don't do that. I'm much more inclined to look for something of interest to pursue. In the long run, all those things kind of get done, more or less. You know, the efficiency problem with doing it, test everything under the sun in the radio. You could have done that with this radio. I could have spent a couple hours gathering information. Would I have ever done the knob thing? No, I probably would never have. It just wouldn't be on my list of standard things, Check to see if the knob gear doesn't work. It's just not on my list. So I could do all that stuff, and it's not going to help me today, right now. The other problem, along with jumping to conclusions, is rejecting conflicting information. So if you have an idea of something, and somebody comes up and says, well, no, this is how that thing works, you might reject it because it's too disturbing. And, we're all trying to get on in life. We're all trying to move forward. We're all trying to get to the better place. And, I don't want stuff to get in the way. So, I figured this out, now leave me alone. That's kind of a human trait we all have. It's very hard to not have them. I'm just waiting, like a sign is going to pop out. There's another spring I just noticed. It's just another spring. Something's going to pop out here. Somebody's going to wave a sign that says, do this. There's another spring there. What's that guy doing? What's he for? Okay, I'm going to pull on this. Pulling on the knob. Hope it doesn't come off. I'm going to rip all the knobs off. This is the first one that comes off anyway. Here, let me move this just a little bit this way. Pull that knob. Wow, so it comes out with a big jerk, and at the end of it, it's just amazing. The knob didn't come right off. What did the spring do? I didn't see it. The spring doesn't seem to do anything. Did it do something? I don't see that it's doing anything. What are you in there for? It's possible it's just kind of steadying things up. Oh yeah, getting right to the core of the matter again. I kind of drifted off in my dunning speech there. Yeah, we can't very well throw our hands up and go, well, I'm just a human being, and I don't know what to do. We live in a world full of gray things, confusing things, conflicting things. We got some people saying this, some people saying that. So what exactly is making that finger bar move? The finger bar, what's making it move? I can see it moving all the way across and coming out the other end. Over here. And I'll bet you that spring is working this bar. See if you can see that. Yeah, you can see the spring move a little bit. Oh, I think I see another spring. Down through the center hole. Where are we here? This little hole. Yeah, this little hole. There's another spring. How come there's another spring? So the finger relaxes in a way to push this forward, push the yellow gear forward. The finger, you can't see it right now, but the finger is bent in such a way that it can't push it as far forward as it might. I noticed this very early on, but I was tempted to try to straighten it, but for two reasons I didn't. One, maybe that's a very refined adjustment out of the factory. I kind of doubt that. Number two, that looks like one tough piece of metal. To get in there with something strong and try to bend it, and it's sitting inside that groove in the gear. So to try to bend it, you have to come up with quite a approach. It's not just stick a pair of pliers in there and it's over. So that's why I left it. Now it's not the main, the upright part of the L. If the L was written on a piece of paper and you're looking at it, you have the long part and the short part. The long part is what we're seeing, and the short part is pointing downwards into the groove. It's the downwards part that's bent a little wee bit, but bent in such a way it's not pushing as far as it could. So another possibility is it's bent because of repeated driving it forward. Oh, it doesn't drive forward. It's pulled backwards. But the spring is driving it forward, but fat chance those springs could push so hard that it would bend that piece of metal. So that whole thing is a little curious to me, just how that got to be that way. But it sure looks like if I just bend that, in fact I could even just bend the long part of the L forward, it would just drive the yellow gear. Now I think I tried driving the yellow gear forward by hand and it didn't seem to do anything. So I'm going to try that again. Get a little bit of a longer camera shot or something. That'll help you get some perspective too. Perspective is what we need. Okay, so that's the camera that's looking down in it. Move it off. And I'm going to try to take and push that yellow gear forward myself. I'm going to be the L. I've tried this already, but I'm going to try it again. And then what I can do, if you just come down here a little bit, I can be pushing it forward somehow. Try turning this and seeing if the wheel engages, which it should. Okay, so I'm gonna try to avoid everything bad. I just have to push right on the finger, right on the L. Okay, now I'm looking. I can see through this hole here. Whoops, a little bit of a focus deal there. You were looking at the back of my head, were you? So things are moving a little wee bit. I think they're more likely twisting than they're moving like this. They're more likely like that. Let's see what happens here. So, applying small pressure. Of course, the thing I'm applying pressure to is trying to turn it. I'm applying. That's right. So that's why they need the finger in the slot thing. No, never mind that. That's a false thought. Okay, pushing forward. I'm not getting a very good lever action here because it's levering way high on the screwdriver. I was hoping it would the fulcrum would be low and give a lot of power, but fulcrum is actually this control. It's way up high. Okay, so I'm applying some pressure. Well, that's better than it has been. That's for sure. I'm applying a lot more pressure now. So if I sort of disable the anti-spinner mechanism, right? You don't want the knob to spin when you push the buttons. So when you push the buttons, the knob does spin. Does anybody really care? I mean, is it really that bad? It's kind of fun, isn't it? Well, it's a little bit of fun watching the thing spin. I'm sure I've seen radios where the knob does spin. So, you know, so the solution involves that, that's fine. Now I was pushing pretty hard with that, and it didn't seem to want to really tightly engage. And we're back to these questions around the clutching mechanism in there. What is it exactly? So the other idea was, since I pushed the gear this way, is to push something that way, and thereby tighten everything up. And that involved loosening a set screw that it just seemed to me my tool was just slightly undersized. And I know it's a one-way trip. If you turn the tool like that and it cams inside the set screw, that's the end of ever loosening that set screw. And worse yet, if you manage to get it kind of loose, you may never get it tight again because you've ruined the set screw. So that's why I backed off that idea. And I got scared. Bring the set screw into view. It's visible through the hole here. There, you can just see it just above the wheel. I don't think its rotational position is important. It's just its lateral position that's important. That seems like a real possible solution to this whole thing. Just jam it forward. And if you're new to all this, if you've seen this all for the first time, this looks very much like a clutch. You have two stiff metal plates and then two rubber pads inside, and I can separate them with a screwdriver. You can shove something down between the two rubber pads. They look like one piece of rubber, but it's not. It's two pressed together. I can separate them. That, to me, looks like that is the clutch. They're not fused because I've separated them with a screwdriver, just wedging between the two plates here. But that, I mean, what else could it be? And where else is there a clutch? So then that inner, think about this a little more, that inner clutch plate should be fused, hooked up, attached somehow to the yellow gear. There was a time here where I thought I was seeing some kind of mechanical fingers or something sticking through from the plate, or vice versa, and somehow locking them together so they could not turn independently. You could not turn this yellow wheel without turning that plate. And I thought, oh, that's broken. And that's the root of the problem. The problem is the inner clutch plate is no longer fused to the yellow gear. And just to complicate everything terribly is this thin metal plate here, which appears to be a spring arrangement or something to hold this gear against the gear drive wheel, which is back in here somewhere, which is actually hooked up right to the knob. See, it's driving the yellow gear, and the yellow gear is doing nothing. Yellow gear is free on the shaft. This shaft. This is screwed to the shaft by the set screw. This has to be the mechanism. The yellow. This has to be the problem, that when you retract the yellow gear. Ooh, I didn't want that to happen. It should be retracting the clutch. It wouldn't take much. There isn't much in this. Just a tiny amount of movement. how exactly you would fuse this metal plate to a plastic gear is a real big question. That's a really big question. I don't have the answer to it. If I had to do it now, it would involve glue. Glue in a situation like that, especially I'd use epoxy. That's a one-way street. If I drip it all in there and wreck it all up, and how would you even get it in there and keep it in there? You'd have to have you have to build a mold or something and then pour it in, and yeah, wow. That just sounds like a disastrous thing. So I think really the way to go here is to forsake the clutching mechanism, forsake the problem of the spinning knob, which how much of a problem is it really? Loosen that set screw, slide that piece forward. Now let's think of what happens if it doesn't work out. So what happens if I can't tighten that clutch plate? The set screw afterwards. I've ruined it. What if that happens? Can't get enough of a bite on this shaft anymore. They only have one set screw. You know, a lot of these things they use two set screws at 90 degrees to, you know, you say you have two screws to have a chance, and two together is really a lot more than one. But not here. You know, a good thing is the jumping to conclusions. The way Mr. or Dr. or I don't know if he's a doctor actually, a psychologist Dunning said, you have to give time. Boy, I do that a lot, don't I? You have to give time for whatever it is you don't know to show up. So I think I'm going to go just drink a little bit of coffee. Look at this sad arrangement here. What is all this about? Taped up. Something, I guess it's taped up because maybe the terminal's shorted against this panel on some of these models. They have a lot of tape in there. That's a distraction. Yeah. I'm going to go, I think I'm going to watch Mr. Dunning some more. Maybe he knows how to fix this thing. No, he's working on fixing people. And have I said that? I don't know if I've ever said it so directly. You know, when I'm working on these radios, I know I'm working on myself. So are you if you're doing this stuff. It's good to really make that a conscious thing. That this isn't all about this. Let's think about it. Just think about it for a second. I got all this old but still complicated equipment in my shop. It takes a long time to understand all these things. There's a lot to them. But these things are like that compared to us and our brains. Our brains, the human brain, could be the most complex thing in the universe. It's quite possible. Oh no, there must be other life. Well, you gotta really look into that. We live on a planet where life has been able to live for billions of years. During that time, it's been chopped down a couple of times too. There's lots of planets out there in space that there's no chance of life because their suns fire out radiation that would burn everything up, and so on and so forth. And just the chances of allowing a multi-billion-year period for life to develop up to what we are could be so remote, so unlikely. And to think about this too, in the life of the universe, we've been around this long, right? That long. That's how long we've been around in the universe. We're just a flash. Well, is there another flash happening at exactly the same time as us? Probably not. There may be another planet somewhere in the universe, there probably is, that's got all the different ingredients and all the stuff, and just lucky enough like us to go along for billions of years, right? The universe is only 14 billion years old. The Earth is 6 billion. Life maybe 4 billion, they're not too sure. The earliest life being incredibly simple stuff for the longest period of time before it started building up to us, which is just kind of a snap at the end here. It's quite possible that we are today, at this point in time, the pinnacle of the universe. Why am I fascinated by this thing? Look what's in my head. And we take all this for so much, we just take it for granted, and we should almost be falling down every time we see another human being, just to be in the presence of a human being, a thing that came from billions of years of development that can now think about itself. It's fantastic. Can build tools to extend its awareness, our awareness. So the tools in my shop are for that, aren't they? A magnifying glass is something like that. I can see more with it than I can without it. And do all these things, all the things that humans do, and so many of us trashing it all, not even coming close to understanding the fantasticness that we are. That was a great speech. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, so I do think about these things. I really do. And like I say, we need to think about ourselves a lot more than all the rest of this stuff from a scientific engineering point of view. Not some airy-fairy stuff here. I'm not talking about airy-fairy stuff. Coffee. Coffee will settle me down. Okay, hunted down the tool that I fit last time I was working on this. This is the tool that fits in there. Son of a gun, this is a torque wrench. Never actually used it in any kind of torque situation. You know, what I'm thinking is, and also there is another tool that came with this that you plunge down in here. It looks like a screwdriver, and that's how you adjust the torque setting. The torque setting is 7 inch-pounds. My problem is, what's that mean? There's going to be a chance here this is going to get it out, but when I go to tighten it up, I can't because the torque setting is too low. And I could not find that stupid tool that goes in there. Of course. Yeah, I did find this. Isn't that neat? I don't know what year this would be from, but it's pretty old. I think this was my grandfather's. I think that's how I ended up with it. Not my father's, my grandfather's, though. There's something written on it. You know, basically I'm so scared to do the work, I'm just distracting myself with other other things here. Let's see, what's this say? It says William, I think that's short, William Marples. William Marples and Sons. William Marples and Sons, Sheffield, England. Well, William, it's still working. I wonder what year that might be from. Okay, so that's the story. I put this in here, loosen the screw, ruin the screw, that's the end of that. Put it in there, get it loose, push the thing forward, doesn't do any good, go to tighten it, can't tighten it, never finished thinking about, so what happens if this second wheel is loose forever after this? Well, you know, it's not any worse than it was right now, but that's gonna, I'd have to use epoxy or something. I can't imagine that epoxying that. Okay, let's just do a little dry fitting here to see how this feels again. So there's play in the tool, but there's play. Let's get better light on here. There's play right in the right in the screw. No others that are that small that I could find, and they're just those little, again, L-shaped Allen keys. I can't fit them down in here and do anything with them. I mean, I'm lucky I have this. Boy, I can't get up the nerve. I cannot get up the nerve to do it. What if I jam something in there with the tool head? What would go in there? Tin foil? How would that really help? It's such a small gap. And what if the torque is set so low I can never tighten it up again? And what if this isn't even a repair? And I do all this and it doesn't do anything. How can I prove this ahead of time? How can I prove this ahead of time? So I know I'm going in the right direction. Coffee, once again, is the answer. Okay, looks like I'm reducing one risk here. I found the tool. Torque setter. Plus, minus. 8.5. I'm just going to crank it up as high as it'll go. 9.5, 10 would be at the top. There's 10. Now, what does that really feel like? What does 10 really feel like? Put the tool in, get a grip on this. I've never pushed this past its torque limit. Oh, you know what? That's not that much. It's much stronger in one direction than the other. That's the tighten. There's not much to it. This way. Oh man, it's exactly what I was afraid of. I could get it out without the torque action, but I never get it back in. Well, okay, so there's something that was in that category of I didn't know it. Now I do. Can I fit this little tool into something else? Nothing that size. That's really, really tiny. What about this? What about if I can put a tool on this? Just like this tool. Yeah. This is a pretty old tool too. This one, the beauty of it is the jaws remain parallel the whole time. And it's a strong guy too. It's got a lot of power. Hey, where's this guy made? Bernard. People like to put their names on these tools. Patent number something or other. Bernard. Where were you from, Bernard? Oh, here we are. New Haven, Connecticut. There's something Horn Company. Huh. Who's Bernard? So this guy will work really well because I can also put it on this way and really get a ton of leverage. I mean, I for sure, this is too powerful. I can certainly get it in and out with this. Can I? Let's see. How long is this? Got a grip on it. Okay, I have all the ingredients now to really wreck this thing. Whoops. It's Nothing standing in my way from implementing that. Loosen off the set screw, drive the thing forward, tighten up the set screw. Hope that did it. Yeah, I'm not rushing into anything here. Okay, so I let a little time go by again, and you know what? That was a good idea, because I really haven't pursued another less risky approach, and that is going back to the finger when the stereo's in its relaxed state, like it is now. Is that finger spring-loaded and pushing the yellow gear forward? So I can test for that. Pretty sure. Let's take a look. I'm just going to put a screwdriver down there, and oh, I've got company here in my shop. One of my cats has come in. Whoops, that was me, not the cat. Okay. Now, what I want to do, whoops, just bump my head on my microphone there, is I want to, you know what, I got to change the angles here. Yes, there's a cat walking around here. Oh, he's come to help. She's come to help. What I want to do is I want to focus this just a wee bit better here. So I want to test and see what kind of pressure that finger is putting on the yellow gear by pushing the finger back. Is there any pressure at all? There's definitely pressure there. It's got to be those springs. Oh my God, look what's staring at me right here. I can't do anything about the weather, cat. Okay, watching the spring through the hole, yeah, so there's a chance these springs are not pushing hard enough, and is it reaching a stop point? Kind of. Is that a hard stop? Not really. I'm going to watch the yellow gear there, what little you can see of it. I'm having trouble seeing past the camera here. Camera view is just not good enough. A certain amount of flexibility right in this last part. I think I should try bending this. This is a low risk thing. Bend it so it's further forward, so when it's in relaxed state it pushes harder on that thing. It looks kind of bent already. How am I going to get in there? How am I going to get in there? What do you say there, Shadow? So bending metal is difficult. You have to bend it past its stress point into the strain area, so when you let go it's now in a new configuration. I haven't got much room to do that kind of thing. I can kind of retract it a little bit. I don't know what you're seeing on the camera there, but I want to bend it right back here. Okay, here we go. Oh, I bent it a lot. Oh, that bent it a lot. Okay, let's turn the knob here and just see what happens. Yep, she's gotten comfortable here. That's her winter thing. In the summer, let me outside. In the winter, she wants to come up on top of my bench here. Did we succeed in locking up the tuning? So turn the knob, watch the wheel. Not in the least. Not in the least. That was a fatal thing. You're not looking through that camera anymore. So I bent that thing a lot. Okay, I'm going to put pressure on it like I did last time. Re-examine this situation. Would appear to be close. What can I do to make that kind of a permanent deal too? Or did I just not bend it far enough? Or those springs aren't strong enough to push enough? I'm putting a certain amount of pressure with this tool. What can I do about the springs? Not much. Is there something restricting its motion? Doesn't look like it. Uh-oh. What happened here? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can I say uh-oh one more time? You know what? That finger has come right out of the... Finger is no longer in the gear. Means that rod has probably traveled way forward, the L rod. Son of a gun. That also means the yellow gear is relaxed back even further. There's nothing forcing it. How did that come out? You know what? I gotta switch to something stronger than coffee. Maybe cannabis is the key. Maybe I just pop that back in somehow. Oh, son of a gun. Oh, that's an interesting sound right there. Sounds like the sound of doom. The doom sound. Oh, look at that. Holy smokes. Let's just sharpen it up a wee bit. Well, that certainly wasn't my intention. So the rod appears to be way out now, like this. So there's nothing holding the L rod back. Shadow, you aren't just not really helping. Here's my long screwdriver. Oh my gosh. So I can come at it this way. So now you can see the real extent of the spring. So it seemed kind of... It's quite a push. There, it's back in. This is working again. I'm able to move this. It doesn't seem to do anything now on the yellow gear. And what happens now if I actually tune the radio here? No, 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 no. No, no, no is the answer. Down to shoving something the other way now. simple thing. It's really like working right on the edge of a precipice the whole time. You know, one little slip and you're down. You're down and gone. And back to trying to do that Allen screw. I don't like the situation at all. Just make sure that the next size up is really no good. Yeah. Won't go in at all. So, you know, basically in a situation like this, you run the risk of just doing a successive series of actions, and every one of them makes the situation worse, and then you end up really with a disastrous result. I guess my major backup is glue, 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 but Mr. Dunning is yelling in my ear, you just don't know something yet. You just don't know something yet. You don't know it, but you're jumping to conclusions. Holy smokes. So I haven't said this today, but I think the real source of the problem we're looking at right now. So you can see the yellow gear, and then you can see the edge of the metal plate, and then you can see the clutch element, which looks slightly separated, but I don't think it is. Well, in between the metal plate and the clutch assembly there is an orange material, which I think is a rubbery material. I can't be sure. And that it has collapsed. It is shrunk. It is not as big as it should be. This doesn't make sense to me, because if you pull the yellow gear back, so pull the yellow gear back a little bit. What like there's like two clutches in there. Why would you have that? So you pull it back a bit, and that orange material no longer is squeezed so hard, and it begins to slip. But that can't be the way it works, because you got to pull it everything back so the main clutch, what I believe to be the main clutch, the thing with the black rubber in it, separates. That means that the right side plate, the orange material, the metal plate, and the gear should all travel as a unit, a tied together solid unit. So what I'm thinking is you pour epoxy down in there, and just try to epoxy that orange, where that orange piece is. Just fill it full of epoxy somehow. Then when the yellow gear pulls back, which it can't anymore because I bent the finger, so it no longer pulls back. Why can't I apply tremendous pressure to this yellow gear, and just why won't it come further forward and compress the orange material? I got a little bit of that action. Why won't that work? Why, as a test, put a screwdriver in there, jam it forward. Oh my gosh. And there's that Allen screw laughing at me right there. Well, Shadow, what are we going to do here? Look me in the eye. No, up here. Yeah, look me in the eye. No. Here, over here. Look me in the eye and tell me what to do. Oh, you're hopeless. She's not going to help either. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's where the problem is already. Oh my gosh. Okay, new idea to think about. So this is the shaft that's running through. It's running through the center of the yellow gear and everything. What's keeping this shaft in place? Why could I move the shaft and thereby pull things together better. They relocate the clutch that way. Just make this shaft go there. But wow, there's like zero play in it. Yeah, really, there's just no play in it. How is that held in place? It's what about that? Yeah, what about that? Okay, pursuing the shaft idea. So you can see the shaft has what I think is called a spline on it, and then that brass gear is mounted on the spline. Probably just shoved on it. And that's it for that. I'll try to move this shaft again in and out. It's zero. It's just, there's no play in it whatsoever. No play at all. How do they manage that? How do they got this thing held? So just on the other side of where that is, I think I can get the camera down there. Can I feed it through here? It's just a little bit too big to go down there. So there, I get a view of it this way. Whoops. What are you doing? Camera. Just let me get it set here so it won't fall over. My cat has had enough. It's leaving. There. Okay, let's focus in on that. What are we going to find here? No, the cat's not leaving. So I see those two or three screws there. I think there's a plate screwed to the side. And I'm going to guess that plate is in a slot. Again, any play at all? No, there's no play. There's no way. I couldn't get down in there. I'd have to disassemble this entire mechanism, and I might as well just cut my throat right now. But I'm guessing it's held right there somehow. It's another view of the button system here. You can see I bent the L-bar so much that it's permanently... That doesn't make sense. What do you mean it's permanently? Why would it be permanently? Okay, so I can get a hold of the other end of the L-bar and so the idea is start pushing the button in and the L-bar gets pulled back. It's not being pulled back at all. They broke it. It's not being pulled back because it's being pushed back. Being pushed back because I thought it would push the yellow gear forward, but instead what's happened is the L-bar has been pushed back. Well, what's with you yellow gear? Not that much holding it there. Perfect. Perfect. Now I got really good twist power on this. I just don't want the camera moving at the same time. Getting things ready for a good hard shove. Okay, I'm going to make this camera stable. can. Okay, get the screwdriver back in there. Don't move, camera. You gotta sit perfectly still for this. Good enough. Here we go. Oh, good. You can even see the screwdriver. It just doesn't want to really go. Now, am I crazy? That clutch appears to be open a little bit. The two rubber pads don't. That's another thing too. Those rubber pads could have shrunk a little bit. Huh. Okay, applying lots of pressure here because I can do it now. Whoops. Let's just see what happens here to these wheels. Okay, I'm going to turn the knob. Well, son of a gun, if it isn't going. Simply because I'm pushing really hard on that yellow gear. Let me just get it this way. Well, and I release. Okay, that's a pretty powerful hint. So did I not bend the, can I bend that piece I bent? Bend it a lot more. Good question. Let me just see if, how far back I can push the bar against a spring, and then that would tell me how far I have to bend the tab forward. Can I move that bar? Oh boy. Oh, back here I can. That's right. Back on the back side here. A nice spot to stick in a screwdriver and twist. Okay. So yeah, have a look at that. It might be a little bit out of focus, but where are we? There we are. Okay, so that bar can sit back this far. So in other words, I could bend that piece a long ways and it would start like right now it's just pushing against the spring, so no wonder it's not pushing the bar forward any, or the yellow gear forward. If I bend it though too far, it won't fit in the slot anymore. Can't really tell, but that's an L thing again, and the short part, the lower part of the L is sticking downwards into the groove. Okay, what if I get it so it's not in the groove, but it's behind the whole yellow gear? Pushing from there. I've already had it out of the slot once. Now that would be interesting. That would put a lot of pressure on it. How do you do that exactly? First we gotta kind of pry it up a little bit and get it out of the groove. Not that way. I'm just trying to shove my tool through any hole I can find. It's another one of those male things, isn't it? Can I lift it up and out? Well, there's a problem with that. How did it ever come out? I pulled it out kind of with the pliers. Pull it out with the pliers. Okay. Gotta do away with these close-up camera shot because it's filling the hole I need to work through. I'm gonna go down and grab that thing, lift it up, try to stick it behind the yellow gear. I can't see at all what I'm doing. Just looking around at different angles here. maybe I can come in from the total other side here. Okay, that'll lift it. Oh, I'm right on top. I'm going to pinch some wires there if I'm not careful. Very good. So now I can kind of lift that up, shove it back at the same time. Lift and shove. Lift and shove. Lift and pull. Lift and pull. That's even better. I like that better. Another screwdriver. I tried getting a nice camera angle on this, and I'm just going to switch to a higher definition camera, and it quit working right in the middle of me doing this. So I'm just going to have to watch my arms here. So I'm fitting in where I can pull it back, and now I got to lift it up. Try to disengage it from the yellow gear. There's just like no play here. I don't think I can lift it high enough to disengage it. Can't really lift it at all. How did it ever come out in the first place? To push the shaft down to lower the yellow gear, but the shaft is so stiff. Oh, it's not so stiff. That's the way. Push it down here. Don't bend it. Yeah. Push it downwards. Yellow gear goes down. Tooth is up. Push it over. Pull it back. Retract it. I need 5 arms. I need 5 arms for this kind of thing. A smaller diameter screwdriver. So it goes in and stays in. Okay, good. That's one hand. Now pushing this down, lifting it up at the same time. Hey, if I can lever, I might be able to lever both things at the same time here. I just come in, get in there. That's true. Is it true? Is that what's happening? I'm pushing down on the yellow, up on the thing. Now I can't see how far I'm getting it. Son of a gun. It's really... I expect something to go crack right in the middle of this. Okay, I don't know. Can't see well enough. What exactly am I levering on? I'm levering on the yellow gear. Perfect. Okay. That was a good attempt. Nope. How did I get it out of there in the first place? Push the screwdriver down. Push it down far enough, it's pushing the yellow gear. Grab that piece and just do that. Grab that piece and do that. And I don't want to bend it again. I mean, how many times can you bend it? It's probably got a few more times left in it, but what I don't know is I don't know the clearance. I have to see the clearance. How far do I have to lift it? I got a whole new angle to look at now. So I've got my other camera looking in from the back. It's down here where you can't really see it. There it is, looking in, because it looks just a little bit different here. Let's take a look. So you can see the L-shaped piece now, but it doesn't look L-shaped, but it is. And you can see how the shaft goes into the whatever it is, the big frame, where I don't have any play. You can see the little gear on the left side of the frame. You can almost see how much clearance. Looks to me like you can kind of rotate that L-shaped piece up out of the groove a little bit. Actually, you can see the finger part that's right in the groove. Also, okay, so what's it look like when I bend down the shaft? There. Oh my God, the whole thing is moving here. Doesn't look like that's helping much. And if I try to lift it up, let's try lifting it up here. How can I get at it? It's a twisting motion because the L is not like coaxial with that. It's sticking out. So if I can rotate, how can I rotate it? I can rotate it from the far side here a little bit. Can I not? Oh, lots of play inside there. You can see those springs quite clearly now. Man, this could be the solution. If I can just figure out. So I put a screwdriver, a thin screwdriver, all the way underneath that. That won't. Yeah, that might. No, I don't know. Okay, you know what? I'm not finishing sentences anymore. How am I going to do that? How am I going to get in there? I have the camera in the ideal spot here. And there's all kinds of wires. I could pinch a wire doing this. Wow, isn't that the spot? Unfortunately, it's twisting the bar kind of the wrong way. How is that little piece held on the end there? It looked like a rivet. It's like I could loosen off the L piece from the bracket. No, that's not riveted. That's a continuous piece. It's just scratched up, I guess. It's just a piece of metal, funny shaped piece of metal that's been bent. Can I see how far I can lift it relative to the yellow thing? Didn't I do that already? Didn't I try that? Not much at all. You see, I'm going to crack the yellow gear if I really apply pressure here. Let me bring in a car jack and jack it up. Wrap a wire around it, pull on it. Wrap a wire around it and pull on it. Get some steel wire, fit it in there so I can tug on it. Okay, new idea. A new idea. Steel wire is needed. Okay, so what I'm trying now is to make a loop of steel wire, fish it down, hook it on, and then maybe with even a leverage or just my finger, just directly pull it up out of the groove. And how do you even get it in there? Oh man, I'm gonna have to fish it down, bring it up. Yikes! That's steel wire. Okay, I'm gonna fiddle with that off camera and see if I can get it together. So I've actually managed to fish that wire right down there and get it around the piece. Look at that. Holy smokes, you can't get any better than that, can it? Okay, just pulling with my hands here. What else have I got? And at the same time, I'm pulling this up. I want to be pushing the yellow gear down. Is that going to come out of there? It looks pretty close, doesn't it? And then what? And then I have to make that bar go back once the finger's out. I mean, I can get the finger out onto the surface of the yellow gear to start with. I'm getting excited. I shouldn't get excited. Don't get excited. Okay. Down, up. Why is that gear turning over there? What is that gear? Well, we're looking back at the tuning knob. That's an interesting shot. You can see the plate. See how the plate runs against the shaft with a little gear? Kind of push the gear up against the yellow gear. That's all really fragile stuff too. But all that'll be locked up much tighter. I can just do what I'm trying to do here. What all's moving? Everything's moving. Make sure I'm on the best angle. Whoops. Best angle would be like this. And I think I might need more than just my arm strength here. I'm just gonna put that in place for now. So I need the this one to pull it. Oh, you can really see the separation in the, this is a great camera angle. So here's the thing, when you look right down between the metal plate and the supposedly compressed rubber orange, no longer orange thing, you can see right down to the shaft. And you can see there's some yellow that doesn't seem to move. And that's the part I think is broken in there. It's supposed to really lock the let's just keep looking at this. How much more can you find out about a simple little mechanism like this? Oh my gosh, what did I just do to it? What happened there? Something happened there. First of all, I got a wire in the way of the camera, but I'm going to ignore that. So now you can really see the action. So, did I just fix it? Well, only if turning the tuning knob turns the, no. See, the metal plate is not even moving. Well, I think I'm on to the solution. I think getting that finger in behind is going to be the solution. Okay. If I yank up really hard on it, what would happen? If I just use a screwdriver and powerful leverage, what would happen? Somehow it came out of there in the first place. I was twisting on it. I don't want to twist it anymore. It's twisted in a beneficial direction right now. I just need to get it out and onto the yellow part, and then I can shuffle things. I have to get it out of the slot. Okay, so I'm going to try to build up the leverage. How long is this video? Oh my gosh. Build up the leverage here so I can lever it. So I want to pull it. I want to pull it this way too. And I want to pull it that way. It looked like just levering against this shaft here. Like that. It's not very good. I need a higher fulcrum. What's this, a Class B lever? Is that what that's called? Go out here like that. You know, I'm not going to get much more power than just pulling it direct. And the thing about pulling it direct is you know exactly what kind of pressure you're putting because you're doing it yourself. What about something I tighten up? and as I tighten it up, I get the car jack in here and tighten it up. You can watch the thing lift. That's high enough. Don't go any higher. At the same time, I gotta probably push the gear down, but I can do it by hand over here a little bit. I can grab this with a pair of pliers actually and generate leverage that way, like this. This is the temporary power cord I have in here. Okay, so I could do that. Bend this down, lock it in a bit. Okay, let's look at what's happening now. What's happening? What happened there? What happened? Oh, my pliers slipped off. They slipped off the fulcrum. Oh, I got it out, but I got it on the wrong side. Okay, hang on. It's free. Now I gotta pull it back. Okay, I got the method here. Let's just calm down. Calm down. Okay, I'm ready to pull it back. So we're gonna lever it up. Ah! That's in the wrong spot. Okay, so my pliers keep slipping. Too many round surfaces. Okay, get it back in where I want it. Okay, grip on it. I'm gonna grip higher up on the pliers. Maybe a twisting motion might be better. Lock it in. Okay. Come on, yellow gear, what would you do? I don't want you pulled back like that. Shoot. Well, I tell you, if the guy who designed this is still alive and he's watching this video, he's probably just basically filling his pants with what is happening here. Yeah, maybe he's old enough to fill his pants. Come on. Boy, I get that yellow gear, just stick my fingers right down there, can't I? Did it go back forward? Okay, pull the thing back. Pull it back. Where'd my screwdriver go? Getting too excited. Pull back. Come on, out of the groove. Don't pull the gear with you. Okay, we're pulled back. I think we're pulled back max. Okay. Hey, maybe I could just do it right into here. Let me use that groove. Use the groove. Get in the groove. Yeah, get in the groove. I can't quite get the angle I want on the screwdriver. I can't get the angle. They come in from here. I need a longer screwdriver. Okay. And from here. Bingo. Okay, get in the groove. As you can tell when I look at the camera picture, I just lose complete coordination here. Am I in the groove? No. Get in the groove. Back bigger angle. Because this I can apply the perfect pressure. I can just figure out what the heck I'm doing with the screwdriver. Oh my gosh. Isn't that going in there? Is the wire in the way? My wire's in the way. Push the wire out of the way. I'm having trouble seeing any of this. It's all blurry when I'm using my ordinary eyes. That's instead of my super eyes. Okay, there's got to be another angle in here. I got it. see what I'm doing now. Can't, where are we? We're out. We're out. We're out. We're out. We're not out. We're in. Look and see it. Okay. Push down on the gear thing here. No leverage. Do it by hand. Oh, it is out. It's out. It's way out. It's way out. Pull it back. I need to pull it back now. Make sure to pull it back. Screwdriver. Oh, that's. Oh. Come on. Go a little further. Well, that's a bad thing that just happened. That's a bad thing that just happened. Oh, no. It's come apart. It's come apart. I have pulled it apart. Oh no. But you know what? Maybe this is the key to it. Maybe this will help. Somehow. God knows how. Well, I've reached the end of the road for today because it's after lunch and I have other things to do today. So my wife tells me. So I'm gonna have to stop here. It's so close, but it's a whole new ball game now that I broke it. Whole new ball game. Yeah. Okay. I'm laughing, but maybe I shouldn't be. Because of that piece broken free there, who knows what works anymore at all. But maybe it's the secret to success. Well, thanks a lot for watching, and good luck to me.